D&D has a game-changing tool for roleplay and immersion built right into its core system, but chances are you're not using it. The same tool has been employed by fantasy authors for decades, and it's literally built into the core system of most TTRPGs. But most of us still just see it as a checkbox on our character sheet. So what is this tool? How can it transform your game? And why is it better than what you're doing already? Stick around because we are about to change the way you play D&D. I grew up on fantasy books like Lord of the Rings and other epic fantasy novels in that same vein. And as I've grown, I've seen more and more published. Now we've got The Wheel of Time, the Stormlight Archives, A Song of Ice and Fire, and so many more. Books like these have something in common with many TTRPGs that helps immerse us into the world of the stories. Languages. These books, and many others like them, make extensive use of languages in the stories they tell. It's honestly one of the biggest things I loved about fantasy to begin with, and it inspired me to spend years learning about how languages work, how to utilize them in writing, and even creating several of my own. And today, I want to share that knowledge and experience with you to help you make your games the best they can be. Because languages aren't just a box to check on your character sheet. They can give clear distinction between cultures, keep some knowledge hidden until you're ready to reveal it to your players, and create epic moments of character roleplay. And it's been a part of D&D and other TTRPGs from the beginning. But unfortunately, many tables are still not using them to any great extent. Languages are already built into the character sheet. Your players have chosen them, and likely your world has some linguistic quirks that you already know of. The problem is, most games treat languages like an afterthought. But by actively and proactively using languages, you can open doors to more creative encounters, richer world building, and memorable moments that stick with your players. Imagine encountering an NPC that doesn't speak Common, or deciphering a magical text written in an ancient tongue. Suddenly, those language choices on your character sheet feel really important, and that's the potential you're unlocking. But does it really improve roleplay and immersion that much? Absolutely. Here's why. You walk through the passages of the city. The pale glow of the moon casts wicked shadows across the alleyways. Devils seem to wait on every corner, with their cutthroat servants doing their bidding. As you turn the corner, just a block away from the inn where you know you'll be safe, you hear a croaking voice slowly chant, Bilfarash Kalon. Ildak, since you speak Infernal, you understand this casting. The voice, translated into Common, is saying, Great fire of the hells. Someone is casting Fireball. You're able to warn your friends, and because of this, the whole party has advantage on the dexterity save. Like the moment right there, languages create opportunities for unique roleplay, and perhaps to even reward the players for the choices they've made. And with enough practice using languages in your game, you might become so proficient that you can give me some bardic inspiration by hitting the like button and subscribing so you hear the trumpets every time the bard comes to the stage. Imagine your bard needing to act as a translator between the party and the NPC, or your wizard uncovering a secret prophecy written in Draconic. These moments like the one that I just read to you, make your players feel like their characters are truly part of the world, not just visitors or kind of observers. Part of the world. In that example, even if I had only said, you hear someone speaking in Infernal, Ildak's player would have known that he speaks Infernal, and it would have made his choice feel really cool and meaningful. Languages add depth and realism to your world. They make it feel alive. And more than that, they make the players feel like they've done something more than checked a box on a sheet. Think about it. When players feel like their language choices matter, they're more engaged. Isn't that basically what we want in our games? But why is this any better than what you're already doing? If you're already using roleplay and world-building tools, why add languages to the mix? Because they create something that many tools just can't. Player-driven discovery. Languages, when used in games, can make players feel like they've done something, even though all they really did was select the language they wanted to speak. They can reinforce immersion by making the world feel more layered and connected. And they create a sense of accomplishment, whether it's deciphering a clue, making peace with an NPC, or navigating a cultural divide. And here's the best part, you don't even really have to know anything about how language works for you to use it in your games. There have been plenty of books, movies, and shows that don't have any regard for how language works.
So, by changing this letter and inserting the correct one, we find that the Shepherd's Journal, the key to Atlantis, lies not in Ireland, gentlemen, but in Iceland.
So why does all this matter? Because using languages can transform your D&D game and your homebrew world from a game that lets everybody have a little bit of fun to a living, breathing world where your players can leave the real world behind for a little while and experience a world through the eyes of its people, through the cultures of those they meet. By making languages a living part of your game, you'll create richer stories, deeper immersion, and incredible moments your players will talk about for years. I know this because a group I used to run for still talks about the languages that I used in their game 5 or so years ago. But unfortunately, knowing to use language in your games isn't enough. Like with any skill, you've got to learn how to use them. And that means understanding the levels of the depth of language and where you kind of are on the spectrum of their usage in your games. But don't worry, I have made a video that covers just that. You can find it right here, so go check that out. Till next time, guys. Gotta roll.